In this video, we'll go through everything that you would need to know to be able to understand and know how to install the Holeshot MT5 EA onto your terminal and be able to trade with it right off the bat. For my people that end up buying this off of MQL5, what you end up seeing is the Holeshot EA will be under market. And then once you double click on experts, you end up seeing the Holeshot MT5 in that area as you end up purchasing it through MQL5. Everyone else that ends up doing this from the website, you end up seeing Holeshot MT5 inside of your drive as the folder or be placed in once you end up doing it yourself. Now, what you would need to do from here is that we're going to go through step by step on everything that you would need to know on how to be able to get this done. So please make sure that you end up following each and every step by step to ensure that you end up doing this correctly. The first thing that you will need to do is click on view. Once you end up clicking on view, you will need to click on market watch. Once you end up clicking on market watch, what you end up seeing is right here. We're going to use the Euro United States dollar as our file to be able to start off with, but you have three other pairs that you can be able to choose from, whether if it's Australian United States dollar, pound United States dollar, or Australian CAD. From here, what you need to do is click on Euro United States dollar, left click onto it, and then after that, right click on chart window. From there, a new chart window will show up, but you need to ensure that you're on the 15-minute time frame, as that is the time frame that the system works off of. From here, what we're going to do is that we're going to click onto our Holeshot MT5 file. Once you end up doing that, you will place this inside of the folder. Once you place this inside of the folder, it will end up showing up on the screen for you. You will need to click on inputs. And then from inputs, you will see this is the inputs that you will need to have placed in on this folder as we end up going through. Now, I'm going to come back to this because we're going to use this as a way of being able to load in our preset file. But I wanted to make sure that we end up having, when we end up doing this and clicking on OK, that it will start off and you will see that the candles will end up changing. This is our starting platform of how we end up doing this. From here, what you will need to do is click on file. Once you end up clicking on file, you will click on open data folder. Open data folder will end up being the location where you end up having all of the files that you end up getting from your Google Drive preset file that you will need to place in. You will need to double click on MQL5. From there, all you will need to do is match up the files with the files that you end up seeing in your MQL5 folders. So let's start off by going into our indicators. We double click on indicators from right here, you will need to place in your Keltner channel and your minion server clock. This is how you do that. You will go back to your Google Drive folder, in which let's talk about what you will end up seeing once you end up getting your Google Drive folder. There will be two main folders. There will be your presets, and then after that, there will be your setup file. If you double click on setup, you end up seeing that it has indicators, templates, include, and image folders. From here, we're going to double click on indicators. Once we end up double clicking on indicators, you will see these three dots that says more actions. You will click on that. From there, you will need to click on download. And you'll need to do that with both folders as well. Once you do that, you can go up to your download folders or wherever it downloads from. And then from there, you will end up seeing both of the files. You will need to left click and drag to highlight both of them. Right click and click on copy. From there, I'm just going to delete these. And you will right click and then you will paste them back in. From there, you have your indicators placed in onto this folder. You will need to go back to MQL5. From there, the next thing that we're going to end up placing in is our images. From your images, and this will be an updated file that will end up being sent to you if you do not have it as of yet. You will go back and then you will go to images from there. There's only one file that you will need to place in, which will end up being the Holeshot backdrop. You will click on to this three dots, click on download. Once you end up clicking on the download, you will open up that folder as well. We're going to right click onto this. And then after that, you'll right click and paste as if it will end up being placed in. You will see background EA from there placed in. That will give you your background file that will go in. After you end up doing that, you end up going back to setup. And from here, you will need to go to include. Now, the include files are the most important things that need to be placed inside of your drive. Everything else will still allow the system to be able to work aside from these. If you do not have these 4 files in, then the system will not work properly. So you need to have your news download, your calendar download, your iCanvas, and then your PNG. If you have all of those files downloaded, like what we're getting ready to do right now. So I'm going to click on download. And make sure that we end up having all these files located. We got PNG, iCanvas, news download. We need FF calendar download. You will need to left click and drag and highlight all 4 of these. Right click, click on copy. Then from there, go back to your MQL file folder. Go into the include folder for that. And you will need to right click and paste this into the folder. From here, to ensure that you have it done correctly, you will end up seeing down at the bottom, it looks like a folder that will end up being placed in. So you need to have your FF calendar download, your iCanvas, your PNG, and then your news download be placed in as well inside of those folders. From there, we are done placing in everything that we'll need to have inside of the actual open data folder file. What you would need to do on your terminal screen at this particular moment is that you will need to right click onto the screen and then click on refresh. As by refreshing, it will allow all of the folders to be placed in and compiled correctly to ensure that you can be able to place this inside of your drive. Now, the only other thing that you would need to do when going back to your Google Drive folder would be to include your template files. So we're going to double click on templates. From there, you will end up seeing Holeshot CF and Holeshot Max. Holeshot Max will end up being the upgrade, which will be sent to you within the overall month. As I'm looking at this is February 8th. By February 15th, everyone should be able to have that file. But for my users that are using this before February 15th, then you have the Holeshot CF. From there, you will click onto this. You will download this file as well. Once you download this, you'll open it up inside of the folder. You will need to right click on Holeshot CF, click on copy, go back to your terminal. From here, you need to right click onto the screen, go to templates, click on load. Once you end up clicking on load, you will right click and then you'll click on paste inside of this folder and then double click and click on Holeshot CF. If you did this correctly, now you will end up seeing the bands and everything else placed onto the screen as you end up seeing in the beginning. The only other thing that you have to be able to do is find the preset file that ends up working for your overall trading style. The way that we do that is that you'll right click onto the screen, click on expert list. Once you end up clicking on expert list, you will end up clicking on properties, and this will take you back into where we started. You will click on load. Once you end up clicking on load from here, you will need to go back to your template files. And from this area, now we'll need to go to our presets. Now, let me explain how this system actually works. Holeshot is based off of your behavior of your trading style and the aggressiveness of how you want to be able to trade. So if you want to be a scalper, that means that you would like to profit within 5 to 10 points on your trade. If you're a swing trader, then you're allowing the system to be able to go after longer moves. Anything that is 25 plus pips, that's how we'll end up trading. If you're somewhat of a hybrid trader, then the system will end up closing in profit from 11 to 24 pips based off of the preset file. So for example, let's go on the scalper. If we click on the scalper, then after that, you need to click on your risk temperament, whether if you're conservative, mid, aggressive, uber aggressive, or legend. Let me explain what that means right now as well. Conservative means that you're looking to be able to get 1 to 2% per week. You're trying to go after 20% for the year. Mid is going after 40 to 60% for the year. Aggressive is going a little bit higher. We're trying to go 60 to 100%. Uber aggressive is 100 to 150%, and then legend is anything else after that. Now, if we go to the legend file to give an example, you will end up seeing your account sizes that will end up matching up with this. If your account size is higher than one of these sizes, then you would need to use the one that is closest to it, from closest to it without being over it. So let's go for example. Let's say you have a $2,000 account and you're just getting started with this. You would still need to click on the 1K account. From there, you would need to match up the currency pair that you have on the screen with the currency pairs that you end up seeing here. As we have Euro United States dollar, we'll click on Euro United States dollars files. And then from there, you will end up seeing the preset files that will be placed in. Please keep in mind, we will update all of the preset files and keep on constantly adding these. And because it is a cloud folder, you will end up seeing more files being placed in as we end up finding ones that are better. From here, what you end up noticing is that each file has wording that will end up telling you information that you will need to see. You will end up seeing HS, which means Holeshot. EU means Euro United States dollar. 1K means a 1K account. LEG means legend. From there, you end up seeing PY. PY means percent per year. That's how much it end up making per year based off of the return off of our off data test and in data test. EDD is your equity drawdown maximum. PT is the amount of points it would take to be able to make profit. In this case, it's 7. And then after that, WR is win rate. That is the win rate on average that it end up winning over the course of a 2-year off data test and 2-year in data test to be able to ensure that it was done correctly. So let's go with this one. We'll click on more actions, click on download. Once you end up doing that, you'll go to your open folder. You will need to right click onto this, click on copy. And then after that, you'll right click onto the preset files. And then you'll click on paste. I have already had this file placed in, so I don't need to do this anymore, but I'm going to double click onto this. And once you end up double clicking onto it, you'll see that the numbers will end up changing to match up with what that system actually has. If you've done all of this information at this particular point and ensure that you end up having allow algo trading placed in, you can click onto the screen, and the only thing else that you need to ensure that you end up having done will be your news. From here, you will need to click on tools, click on options. Once you end up clicking on options, you end up having allow algorithms trading. You will need to have that clicked on now. You will need to have allow DLL imports clicked on. And then after that, allow web requests placed in. After that, you will click on this plus button. And once you end up clicking on this plus button, you will need to place in this website right here that I have placed onto the screen. I'm going to pause for a second so everyone can be able to place that in. But that is literally the last thing that you will have to do before clicking on allow algo trading to allow the system to be ran correctly. Once you end up doing that, you can click on OK. And then you will end up seeing your green hat be placed in. And you end up seeing or green play button be placed in. And then you will see the blue hat be placed in. If you did all of this stuff, then that means that the system is running correctly and it's ready to be monitored for us being able to trade. If you would like to be able to do this based off of pound United States dollar, Australian United States dollar, or Australian CAD, then you will have to replicate the same thing. The only thing that you have to be able to do is place in your file, right click that onto the screen, and then start over by placing in your template chart and the actual folder that goes along with it, in the expert file that goes along with it. Like always, make sure that you end up planning your trade your plan. If you have any questions, please make sure that you end up reaching out to us via our group chat on Telegram, or by being able to send me a direct message through our MQL5 community file. Everyone, y'all have a good one.